Hello world, and we are back. My name's Kyle Fischl, and this is going to be episode 110 of my poker vlog. For this episode, I play a 2-5 session at the Wynn in Las Vegas, but before I get into the hands, one quick announcement. My usual meetup game at Orange City is now going to be back on. This one's going to be Saturday, August 20th. We're playing 1-3 with a $10 bomb pot every dealer change. I'm going to try to get this game going more regularly again. Goal is to get to go once every month. We'll see if that can be sustainable with the turnout this time. But without further ado, let's roll the tape. First hand of note. An early position player raises to $15. I'm in middle position with ace queen of spades. I just sat down at the table, so I'm not really ready to start pushing action until I have better reads on my opponent, so I choose to just call this time. The player to my left calls, one other player calls, so we're going 4 ways to a flop of 9-8 deuce. As we completely whiff on this board, pretty happy we didn't 3-bet because now we get to keep the pot small without investing too much. On a board where we completely disconnect to and one that would never really hit my 3-betting range. On this flop, the pre-flop aggressor checks, I check, and it checks around. To a turn queen of clubs. Very welcome sight. It checks to me. I'm going to try to bet small here. Obviously, Jack 10 gets there, so we didn't actually bink as nutted of card as it could have been with other boards. But either way, I'm going to bet here, bet small, hopefully thin the field. Get all the players with like King X and like Jack 7 and stuff like that to just fold their equity. I bet $20, and to this bet, all 3 opponents call. So we're actually 4 ways to a river card, which is the 4 of spades. On this card, no additional draw got there, no 2 pairs really got there. So if I was ahead on the turn, I should be ahead now. So my plan is to bet relatively small relation to size of the pot, and if raised, just fold. As queen 9 and queen 8 are still theoretically possible for all my opponents, as well as jack 10. However, all queens that are not 2 pair will probably just pay me off. So we're going to go for some value here. I bet $75, and to this bet, everyone folds. So a good little start to this session. I am under the gun with pocket 10s. I raised to $25. Well, one later position player and one of the blinds calls, so we are going 3 ways to a flop of 7-4 deuce 2 diamonds. Excellent board for me. Not only is 10s an overpair, but there are plenty of pairs I get paid off by. 7x, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, as well as some obvious straight draws like 5-6, 5-3, and diamond draws. Great board for pocket 10s. So I continue into 2 people for $40. To this bet, the late position player calls and the blind calls as well. So we are still 3 ways to a turn card, which is the king of clubs. As this is naturally a pretty bad card for me, and if I had a hand like ace, king, c-bet and made some showdown value, I'd probably check back a hand such as that as well. So with pocket 10s, it's going to be no different. When checked to me, I check to my opponent. Hopefully gives me the ability to get to showdown as cheaply as possible. But the late position player decides to bet $160. Nearly a pot-sized bet. Not happy about this development at all. The blind folds and it's on me. I really expect a bet of this size to be more heavily weighted towards draws than a made hand. 5-6, 5-3, and all diamonds are still possible that would play the exact same way. And the only hand I'm really losing to of those draws would be exactly King X of diamonds. So thinking I'm ahead of pretty much all the draws on such a draw-heavy board, I think this one definitely has to be a call. So that is what I do for $160. And the river is the 6 of hearts. One straight draw of 5-3 gets there, but besides that, my opponent should never really have 8-5, and the flush draws brick as well. Expecting my opponent to bet if he had one of these missed draws and check back if somehow he had a King X. I check it to my opponent, who announces all in. I am definitely going to need to count for that one.
Get out. Get out! Yo! Yeah! Yo, chill, man. Get out! Chill!
And the total is $527. For this particular opponent, I had actually previously watched him check back when second to act and have 2 pair on a semi-dicey board, somewhat similar to this. So I really don't expect him to ever have 2 pair here. And since all the flush draws missed and my opponent could theoretically be turning 5-6, which is the most rational straight draw candidate on the flop into a bluff, as well as the fact that I don't have the 10 of diamonds, so unblocking all the diamond draws and all the draws that could miss, I think this one definitely has to be a call. So after a bit of thinking, I eventually make the call, but my opponent had flopped a set of 4s.
How do you feel now?
I can't move.
I suppose all sets are definitely possible. I did not expect my opponent to go for 2 full pot-sized bets with a hand that strong. And maybe this one is a punt, as I could not even beat top pair on this board. Let me know what you think in the comments. either way, this is a decision that I have to live with. Next hand of note. I move seats to a more vlog-friendly angle, and it folds to me in late position. I have ace-jack of hearts. I raise to $15. It folds all the way to the small blind, who decides to 3-bet to 70. And with position and a suited ace, I'm definitely not going anywhere, especially against one of the theoretical widest 3-betting ranges at the table. So I make the call. The flop is 10-8-5 with 1 heart. So 2 overs, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. Decent flop for me. Should absolutely be nowhere near a 3-better's range. But it does not slow my opponent down. He continues for $50, a down bet. Pretty standard. I'd suppose he would do that with all pocket pairs and all ace X. So to this card, I'm definitely going to peel one and hope to improve or take it down with my positional advantage. When the turn is the ace of diamonds, my opponent checks to me. Very odd to see him check. This card is much better for a 3-better's range than a caller, so I expected him to continue if he was ever bluffing. So I expect he has some level of showdown value. However, I do still lose to ace-king and ace-queen, which I suppose are possible. Might slow down when they get some showdown value. I'm not going to take the betting lead on this one. Definitely have a pretty strong hand. If I get raised, it'd be very unfortunate to be blown off my hand. So I check this one back with the intention of pot controlling and calling pretty much any river. Well, the river's the 10 of spades. And to this card, my opponent thinks for a little bit and eventually assembles $150 and puts it in the middle. I absolutely snap it off because I'm just not fully on my hand strength, especially when I check back turn. And my opponent had Queen 10 of diamonds. So definitely a very unfortunate river card. I'm actually surprised my opponent slowed down when the ace of diamonds specifically, giving him a flush draw and being better for his 3-betting range, hits the turn. But either way, he got a nearly pot-sized call out of the river out of me again. So nice hand, sir. Next hand of note. I'm in middle position with pocket aces. I raise to $15 and everyone folds. Awesome.
Oh, no. 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 No, 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 no.
Following that up, the same player from the previous hand, he raises to $25. I'm in the small blind with pocket sevens. Gonna defend this one. And when the blind folds, we're heads up to ace, ace, 8, rainbow. I check it to the aggressor, and he bets $15. I actually expect a size similar to this if he had an ace. But either way, we've seen how wide he'll 3-bet, so he doesn't have to have any piece of this board at all. So I make the call. Turn is the queen of spades. Not a particularly great card, as it's definitely better for him, and it's higher than my sevens. So I check to my opponent, probably going to give up. And he checks it back. Okay, I like free river cards. River's the ace of spades. So we somehow have a full house. Pretty much the worst one possible. And when I check it to my opponent, he bets $110. I mean, I just think I'm beat here. I think my opponent could easily just have a queen, play like the last hand, check back when he gets showdown value, and then be pretty confident with basically second full house. So I'm definitely not going to pay this one off. I fold, and we will never know if it was right or not. The next interesting hand, an early position player raised to $15. There's 2 callers. I'm in the small blind with ace 5 of hearts. I'm going to call, and the big blind gets out of the way. 4 ways to a flop of 9, 7, 3, 2 hearts. Very good for me. Nut flush draw. I check in flow, and the button decides to bet 30. I'm definitely not going to fold the nut flush draw. With weaker flushes, I think it's better to raise. The nut flush has just a lot of value, so I think this hand functions better as just a call. One of the later position players calls as well. So we're 3 ways to a turn card, which is the 10 of clubs. Completes a lot of straights, a lot of 2-pair combinations. Not going to go through them all. Luckily, the board doesn't pair, so I'm still drawing to the nuts. I check and flow a second time. And on this street, the button decides to check it back. The river is the 8 of hearts. Yes, we make the best flush possible apart from straight flushes. Because there's a 4-liner on board, I'm hoping someone has a straight. If someone has a flush, I'm likely going to get raised, so I'm going to go for a smaller size bet here. Definitely also want to entice hands that made 2-pair or just sticky top pairs to stick around. As it was checked through on the turn, there's no aggressor. It would be horrible if this checked through, so I decided to lead for $55. To this bet, both opponents quickly fold. No value to be had when we make hands. And a final hand of note. There is a double straddle on this hand, so it's 2, 5, 10, 20. I'm on the button. The hijack raises to $60. The cutoff calls. I'm on the button with pocket queens. Feels great. Definitely gonna 3-bet this one. Super happy there's a double straddle out there. I'll go a little bigger than 3x on this one because I don't really want this to go multi-way, and I'd like to get as much money in there as possible when I have a hand as strong as queens. It folds all the way to the initial aggressor, who decides to go all in. And when the button folds, I don't even give this person credit for like ace-jack. He had been playing so tight aggressive, but in like correct frequencies where he had bluffs sometimes too, was definitely a raise or fold kind of person. He was never calling, he was always pushing the action or getting out of the way. Additionally, he had just lost a pretty decent pot, expecting to be steaming a little bit. So I snap him off, and he instantly asks if we can run it twice, which I'd say is a good sign for me. I mean, normally when people want to run it twice, they're not too strong. Unfortunately for me, at the Wynn property, it's only one time. One time, let's go. The flop is queen high. What a dream. Unfortunately, all diamonds. But luckily for me, if I was against aces or kings, I have them in pretty bad shape now. Turn is 4 of hearts. River,
Queens.
deuce of diamonds.
No, I don't.
And my opponent has ace king offsuit with a diamond. How magical. How fantastic for me. So my opponent's all-in was for $750. Definitely big. Definitely annoying based on how less than optimally I was running this day. We pay him off. We are left with crumbs, and we don't feel like rebuying anymore.
Now you're in the sunken place.
So we are into the game for $2,000, out of the game for $134, which is an $1,866 loss, which across 5 hours equates to $373 an hour, or 74 big blinds an hour. Yeah, this session did not go my way. I punted very, very hard with the pocket tens hand. Had an opportunity to recover with queens versus ace king, but when you get just a little bit of run bad combined with playing bad, that can lead you to a pretty expensive session. But it's alright, we'll bring it back. Please leave a like on the video to help me get out of this little downswing, and I'll see you all on the next one.